everything you are experiencing in your life, you are not lucky. You are where you are today because God, whose child you are, has never lifted his eyes off you. He always watches you with an interest. You are God's weakness. I am God's weakness. And just like that baby touched my soul, you touch God in the same manner or even more. Hi guys, this is your girl Ronji, and as usual, we like telling stories every Friday on this channel just to encourage you, to uplift you, to give you hope for whatever it is you're going through. These are real life stories, things that I've experienced personally, things that I've walked through, things that I've seen with my own two seeing eyes. And so I like sharing them with you because they're special to me, and also because they teach me a lesson which is worth sharing with any other person, all right? And there was this one day, about 8 months ago, okay? Or is it 1 year? There is this day I left the office as usual. I use public service vehicles. We call them matatu here in our country. And so I went to board a matatu at the bus station. I like choosing those ones that are not yet filled so that I get an opportunity to choose a good seat, one by the window probably. I'll tell you another day why I like seats by the window. That's a story for another day. And so this particular evening I went, chose my seat, sat, and usually I pull off my, what do we call them, earphones, and listen to music all the way home, alright? And so this was no different. I sat, pulled out my earphones, plugged them onto the phone, put some music, and as I was listening, there's one thing that happens normally in the city of Nairobi. You see people begging or asking for some help by the windows of the public service vehicles or even private vehicles. And sometimes you're never sure whether they are genuine or whether they are people who are looking for an opportunity to grab something of yours. And so you're just taking caution, all right? You are being careful so that you don't fall a victim to anybody who is malicious. And also for the beggar, sometimes, you give what you have. Sometimes you are in a good mood. You say, let me spare something for this person. Sometimes you are touched with the situation and you offer something for them to use, which is okay, which is something that I do. Sometimes I don't. And don't judge me harshly, okay? Sometimes I feel like I also need something. Like this particular evening, you're asking me for something, I'm actually in need of something myself, okay? So there are those days when you don't feel like giving anything, or maybe you feel empathy for them, but you don't have something to offer. It happens, all right? And so this particular evening was one of those days I was not in a mood to not just give anything. I wasn't even gonna talk to anybody, all right? And so I think I had a day that day. And so I sat, and as I was waiting for the matatu to fill up, one of those beggars, a woman, passed by the window side where I was sitting, and because I was so focused and listening to the music I'd plugged in, she had to, tap the window so that she gets my attention. And when she did that, I looked at her once and then turned on to continue with whatever it is I was doing, which was pretty much nothing other than listening to the music. I was not in a mood, all right? Something happened because when I turned, I didn't plan to engage with her. I didn't plan to offer anything at all. I was just in my own space. Something happened and made me look again towards her direction. Remember, she's outside, the window is closed, and she's still knocking and trying to get my attention so that she can have something that I can offer. And when I looked a second time, I saw something that caught my eye, something that made this story to be listened to today, all right? When I looked the second time, my eyes met with the eyes of the child she was carrying at her back. And when it comes to children, that's where my weakness is. Even if I was not going to give to her, just because of that child, that would touch me in a different way, okay? And so when I looked and our eyes met, my eyes with the child's eyes, the child giggled and, felt a bit shy and turned away. And the whole time I could not stop looking at this baby. The whole time he or she kept on playing with the mother's scarf. The mother had this not so good looking kind of dirty scarf that she had tied on her hair, and the baby kept on, twisting and twisting the scarf, kept on twisting the scarf, and then he or she would let go of the scarf at the bottom, and then she would just feel so happy whenever the scarf unfolded itself. You know the way you twist something and then when you let go, it unfolds. So the baby kept on twisting the scarf and then lets go, and then when it rolled back, she felt so happy, all right? And this made her laugh so hysterically and just feeling nice. I looked at the baby. The happiness that baby had was something that caught my attention in a very different way. The baby was just happy and playing with her mother's scarf. Probably he or she did not even know where the mother was or what the mother was doing, probably begging on her behalf or on his behalf. But the baby was just so happy. Just a normal happy baby, all right? And as I continued looking at him, because I could not lift my eyes off that baby. I kept on looking at him and I couldn't bring my eyes off of him. The entire time, as the matatu was filling up, I just kept on looking at that baby. And by this time, the mother was moving, from our bus to the next bus that was in front of us. My eyes kept on moving with them because I was still observing that little innocent baby, how happy he was and just how relaxed and comfortable he seemed to be. Nothing was bothering the baby. He was the happiest he could be. And the entire time I kept on thinking, how innocent is this baby? The baby does not know that the mother is on the street begging for food or for any help she can get, but the baby is just relaxed and happy and having a good time. Anyway, as the bus filled, we were almost, now leaving. You could tell the driver had now come inside the bus and shut his door, because by this time the mother had moved on to other buses within my vicinity. I signaled somebody else and said, call for me that woman. And so she came back and I offered that which I was able to offer that evening. But between the time I'd seen this baby and the time I reached home, I did have peace, and in a good way, all right? Because it kept me thinking. And this is probably the reason why I'm telling this story in the first place. That sometimes we are not lucky. Actually, there is no time that we are lucky. If we are here today, whatever it is that's going on in your life, whatever good thing you are experiencing in your life, you are not lucky. You are where you are today because God, whose child you are, has never lifted his eyes off you. He always watches you with an interest. You are God's weakness. I am God's weakness. And just like that baby touched my soul, you touch God in the same manner or even more. And I pray he does something about your situation because he's not just watching to do nothing. You are touching him in a special way, and whatever it is that you're going through very soon, he's going to come through for you. And so as I pray that God helps people who are vulnerable, people who cannot afford a meal a day, people who can have to beg so that they have something for themselves, as I pray for them, I remember we are all in one way or less in the same predicament. And so I pray that God meets all of our needs, and when he has done so for us, he allows us to be touched by other people's situations so that we can also reach out to them and be a blessing to them, all right? So that is the story I wanted to share today. If you liked it, go ahead and share it with your friends. And until another time, God bless you, and let's meet again on this channel.